I'm 36, and this story starts about 3 years ago when I met her. Let's call her Samantha. We crossed paths at a coworker's barbecue. It was one of those early spring afternoons when the air is crisp, but the sun gives you hope. She stood near the grill, laughing, a glass of wine in her hand, her hair catching the light. Something about her made the noise of the world blur. I was just an auto shop manager, covered in grease most days, and she seemed like she had it all figured out. But she looked at me with a spark in her eyes and asked, "Got a light?" I handed her my lighter, and that's how it started. Talks over cheap beer, her telling me about her marketing job, me rambling about cars. It felt easy, natural, like I could be myself around her. A few months later, she started leaving little things at my place: a toothbrush, a scarf, a half-empty bottle of perfume. It felt like building a home together. And then came the day she sat me down, her hands shaking, tears in her eyes. "I'm pregnant. It's yours, James." I wanted to believe her. I told myself I had to believe her. And so I did. The day Samantha gave birth, I remember holding that tiny baby in my arms, feeling like the whole world had shifted. We named him Ethan. I signed the birth certificate without hesitation. The hospital room was filled with the soft cries of a newborn and the beeping of monitors, but all I could focus on was him, this little life I was now responsible for. I thought, this is it. I'm a dad. I'm going to do it right. The first few months were a blur of sleepless nights and diaper changes, but I never missed a doctor's appointment, never skipped a visit. When Samantha and I eventually split, I still wanted to be there. I paid the child support every month without fail, never late, never questioned it. Weekends were ours. I'd take Ethan to the park, teach him to ride a bike, cheer him on at soccer games. I helped him with his math homework, taught him how to throw a baseball. The little things, those were the best. I was there at every birthday, every holiday, every scraped knee. I loved being his dad. Every time he smiled and called me dad, it felt like a reward, like I'd finally built something good and solid. I told myself I was lucky, even when the doubts crept in late at night. I just wanted to be a good father. That's what mattered. It happened on a Saturday at the hardware store. Of all places, I was picking up supplies when I ran into Marcus, an old friend of Samantha's I hadn't seen in years. We chatted a bit, and he casually asked, "How's Ethan doing?" I smiled and pulled up a picture on my phone, the one where Ethan was grinning ear to ear after his soccer game. Marcus tilted his head, squinting. "Wow," he said with a half-smile. "He looks just like—" "Well, never mind." That stopped me cold. "Like who?" I asked, my voice tight. Marcus hesitated. "It's probably nothing. He just reminds me of someone." His eyes flickered, and my stomach dropped. I couldn't shake it the rest of the day. My brain kept looping Marcus's words. The way his eyes shifted like he was holding back. At home, I stared at old photos, comparing Ethan's face to mine, to Samantha's. I saw the dimples, the dark hair. But then, the nose, the shape of his chin, subtle, but different. My mind raced through memories. How Samantha had been acting back then, the timeline. Could it be? Could I have been living a lie all these years? My hands trembled as I poured a drink that night. I told myself it was impossible, but the doubt was like a seed taking root, growing fast, tangling in my chest. I couldn't ignore it anymore. The doubt gnawed at me, night after night, until I couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat without the weight in my chest. I told myself I was crazy, paranoid, but I had to know. I had to know. So one weekend, when Ethan stayed with me, I did it. I packed up a few of his things after dinner, his fork, a napkin he used, the toothbrush from the bathroom. My hands trembled as I sealed them in a plastic bag, my heart pounding like I was committing a crime. The waiting was the worst part. I sent the test off and spent 2 weeks in a fog, unable to focus at work. Lying awake staring at the ceiling every night, my mind raced with every what if, every memory. What if I was wrong? What if I was about to destroy everything over a hunch? But a part of me already knew. I just didn't want to believe it. When the email finally arrived, I sat frozen at my desk for a long time, just staring at the subject line. I clicked it open. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Probability of paternity, 0%. I couldn't breathe, my vision blurred, hands shaking, years of birthdays, weekends, scraped knees, bedtime stories. And it was all a lie, betrayal, rage. I wanted to scream, to break something, but all I could do was sit there in stunned silence, the world crashing down around me. I walked into the lawyer's office with the DNA results printed in black and white. My hands trembled as I handed them over. The lawyer, Mr. Carter, sharp suit, sharp eyes, skimmed the papers. then leaned back. James, you have a case for fraud, paternity fraud. Specifically, the words hit like a slap. Fraud, that's what this was, not a mistake, a lie. We spent hours gathering everything. My bank statements, proof of child support, photos, texts where Samantha called me Ethan's father. Carter laid it out straight. This wasn't just about money, it was about the truth, about justice, about stopping her from doing this to someone else. When I finally told Samantha I was suing, her face went pale. We met at a cafe, a public place. I slid the papers across the table. I know Ethan isn't mine. I have the test results. I'm taking you to court. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. James, please. I never meant. I cut her off. Don't you dare try to make this better. You lied to me. You made me raise a child that wasn't mine. Tears welled up, and she whispered, I thought it was yours. I wasn't sure. I was scared. My voice rose. You weren't scared when you took my money, when you let me believe I was his dad. I gave everything for that boy. She started crying, but I felt empty, the kind of cold that sinks into your bones. There would be no more lies. Not anymore. The day of the hearing felt surreal. I showed up early, wearing the best suit I owned, sitting stiff in the courtroom's cold, sterile air. Samantha walked in late, her hair done perfectly, tears already in her eyes. Like she'd rehearsed, she wore a soft blue dress, like she wanted the room to see her as a victim. I watched her wipe at imaginary tears and steal glances at the judge, hoping for sympathy. When it was my turn, my lawyer stood tall, presenting the DNA test. The payment records, text messages, everything. Samantha's lawyer tried to twist it, saying it was an honest mistake, that I had been like a father, that Ethan's well-being should come first. But the judge wasn't having it. He leaned forward, voice calm but firm. Ms. Sanders, you knowingly misled Mr. Grant into believing he was the father of a child who was not biologically his. You accepted financial support under false pretenses. Therefore, I am ordering all future child support payments to cease immediately. Additionally, you are to repay Mr. Grant the funds he provided over the years, totaling $46,000, and an additional $15,000 for emotional distress. The words hit like thunder, and I felt it in my chest. A rush of vindication. Samantha broke down sobbing, gasping for air, as if she couldn't believe what was happening. But I sat still, calm, my hands folded tightly. For the first time in years, I felt like the weight had been lifted, the lie was over, and the truth had finally won. The aftermath hit Samantha hard. She tried to play the victim on social media, posting tearful videos claiming I abandoned our family, that I didn't care about Ethan, that I was a heartless man. Her family rallied behind her at first, but when the full story came out, the DNA test, the court ruling, her support dried up fast. Her parents stopped taking her calls. Friends distanced themselves. She tried to fight the repayment order, but the debt kept growing. Creditors called. Her car got repossessed. She sold her designer bags on Facebook Marketplace. She sent me emails, long, rambling ones, begging me to reconsider, claiming she was desperate, that Ethan missed me. I never replied. I changed my number, blocked her on everything. I didn't hate her. I just didn't care anymore. That part of my life was over. I moved to a new city, smaller, quieter. I bought a fixer-upper with a little yard. I picked up hiking, learned to cook properly. My work at the auto shop kept me busy, but I found time to volunteer at a local youth center, helping kids with basic car repair, teaching them to change oil, patch tires. I was free, not just from her, but from the weight of it all. I wasn't a dad, not to Ethan, but I was a man who survived betrayal and came out stronger, and that was enough. Looking back, I see it all clearer now. I learned the hard way that trust is earned, not given blindly, that love doesn't mean losing yourself to someone else's story. I learned that boundaries matter, that saying no can save you from years of pain. I realized that some people will take and take, as long as you let them. Samantha didn't love me. She loved the safety, the comfort I provided, and I let her. I wanted so badly to build a family, to be the man my father never was, that I ignored the warning signs, the small lies, the inconsistencies. I told myself it was love, but it was a lie built on fear and manipulation. This wasn't just about the money. It was about my identity, my self-respect, and the life I was willing to build for myself. I'm no longer a man who lets others write his story. I'm no longer a man who accepts half-truths and quiet betrayals. Now, I live for me. I set boundaries. I trust. But I verify, and most importantly, I remember this. I am not a wallet for someone else's lies. I'm a man who chooses his own worth.